Hey guys, so in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this turkey, which was designed by me. I am so glad this turkey finally worked out. It took me so many tries, but this is finally a design I'm happy with and I feel like looks like a turkey. So here is the design. Pretty happy with it. I don't know if I chose the best colors for this guy, but I'm happy with the overall design, so that's what's important. So here's how he looks. Just letting you look at him. Yeah, pretty turkey-like. So you may have seen this guy I posted on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram, which was this guy, and he was probably my third attempt at a turkey. He just looked too much like my duck design. He's like if my duck design met with this turkey design, I don't know. It just looks a little weird. So yeah, but the thing is I only changed the head on this design, so everything else is the same. On this guy, I just basically flipped out the heads. So yeah, I'm much happier with this guy for a turkey. And yeah, I feel like I did better colors on this guy though. Like I like the neon tail and then the neon legs and the caramel. This guy kind of tried to go more like traditional turkey, I guess. I don't really know. I feel like I could have done a little better with his colors, but yeah, you can do whatever colors you want. So yeah, so here's the design. I think it's fairly easy. It's not too bad. Like some of my other designs, I feel like the hardest part about this design might be because it's a little tight when we do the neck. But other than the neck, I feel like fairly simple, not too bad. But yeah. So I don't have the band count for this guy. I just needed to get into filming. So the band count will be in the description if you're concerned about the band count. It's in the description. So yeah. Band count will be in the description as well as the pattern and everything else I usually put in the description. So yeah. I really love this guy. I'm so glad I finally have a turkey design. Like, look how cute he is. I like his gobbler. Very cute. Okay. We'll get into this. So, to make this design, of course, you're going to need a hook. I'll be using my double-ended hook today, and you can use whatever hook you want. You only need one end of it. I just really like this hook. For the bands today, I'm going to be switching up my colors a bit. So, for the tail, I'm going to be doing very similar to this guy's tail. So, I'm going to be doing red, yellow, and then the orange. So, that's how this guy's tail is going to be. And then for the brown spot on this guy, I'm going to be using this burgundy color, which is what I used on, like, this part and then this part. So I'll be using the burgundy color for this brown bit. And then for his head today, because I'm going to be using blue, because turkeys actually sometimes have blue heads, so I'm going to be using blue. And then I don't know what color I'm doing for the feet and all that yet, but his gobbler should be red. His beak will probably be orange or yellow. So yeah, I'll let you know as I go what part we're at so you don't get confused on the colors. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't think I am. I think we're good. So we're going to get started. Like I said, patterns in the description. Sometimes it's helpful just as like an extra thing to have. And where we start on this design is basically we're going to start on the head and then we're going to make this body bit. So we go from the head and we go down. Like that. So you're going to want to get whatever color you want for your head first. Like I said, I'm using blue today because turkeys sometimes have blue heads. But you can use whatever color you like. I feel like this turkey design is kind of fun because you can do so many different colors because turkeys are drawn in a lot of different colors. Like I feel like when you see decorations and stuff. But also like an actual turkey is definitely going to be different to like other things. I feel like you can really have fun with the colors on this guy. So, yeah. I feel like I did such a long intro for this video. I have not filmed a tutorial in a while, and I feel like it's showing. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. To start, we're going to start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. I'm just zooming in so that way you guys can see what I'm doing. But yeah, so we're going to start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to be putting 4 stitches into this cap band. If you don't know how to do that, I'm going to show you right now. So we're going to pull a band through the whole cap band, put both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, like that. Now, I've also seen some people say they have problems, I think, of this bit sliding over the cap band. You do want to pull it a little bit. I know I've been hard on people before on tying their bands too tight, but yeah. Unrelated, I just thought of it. Anyways, we're going to go back into the cap band. So you go back through the whole cap band. And then you pull the band through just the cap band. Put both ends back on your hook. Oops, dropped the band. And then you're going to push this back loop over this front loop. And then you're going to push the loop from last time over as well. And we're going to do that exact same thing 2 more times. So we have 4 loops in total in the cap band. So we'll go back through the cap band. You're going to pull the band through just the cap band. Both ends back on your hook. Push the back one over the front one. And then push the loop from last time over as well. Like that. And then we're going to go into the cap band and do it again. Pull the band through just the cap band. Both ends back on your hook. Push the back one over the front one. And push the loop from last time over as well. Now, I know we did 4 stitches because I was counting, but if you got a little lost and you don't know if you're at 4 stitches, the way you can count is you're going to start by counting the one on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can kind of tell you have 4 stitches. So you just count the one on your hook and then you count all the loops. Or you can kind of just look. I feel like you can kind of tell when you have 4 stitches. Anyways, instead of going into the cap band, once we've made sure we have 4 stitches, you're going to go into this first loop here. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So we're going to treat this like it was a cap band. So you'll just pull it through just the loop, put both ends back on your hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And we'll be putting a C-clip on this band. Like that. So that is the starting part, which I know for a lot of beginners it's probably the hardest part. But now we're going to be increasing everything. So what that basically means is we're going to just be doing increases all the way around. And what it increases is you basically put 2 stitches in each loop. So this one already has 1 stitch in it. But we need to go back in and make another stitch. And then that'll be our increase. So I'll show you on the next loop. So once you have 2 stitches in this one, you're going to move on to the next loop. And we'll be putting 2 stitches in this one because we're increasing. So what it increases is you just do 1 stitch, and then you go back in, and you do another stitch, and that would be an increase. And we keep doing this all the way around, just putting 2 stitches in each loop. So once you've put 2 stitches in each loop and you're back at the C-clip, we're going to make a stitch, just like we usually do, just 1 stitch on the loop that has a C-clip on it. And then we're going to move the C-clip off of this one and onto the one on our hook. Like that. So now if we count around, we should be at 8 loops. So we'll start by counting the one on our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 loops. So now we're going to do 1 row of just all single stitches. So just 1 row normal, no increasing, nothing, just single stitches. And this row is pretty simple. At the end of this row, you should still be at 8 loops. And yeah. Okay. So we're just going to do 1 row of nothing but single stitches. So you basically just put 1 stitch in every loop until you get back to the C-clip. And these are just single stitches all the way around. I feel like the intro to this tutorial, or me starting it, was so long. I don't know how we're already at 10 minutes. Bad intro day. But I'm kind of just don't want to refilm it, so we're just going to keep going. So sorry if the intro was a little all over the place. I don't know. But once you get to the C-clip, you're going to make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it. And we're going to move it up. So now if you count around, you should be at 8 loops still. So we'll start by counting the one on our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. So for this next row, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be decreasing 2 stitches. And we haven't decreased yet, so I'll show you how to decrease if you don't know how. And yeah, we're going to be decreasing on 2 stitches. And then the rest will just be single stitches. It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. I'm just picking up bands off camera. Okay. So like I said, we're going to be decreasing on 2 stitches, and it's actually the first 2 stitches we do. So this first one's going to be a decrease, and what a decrease is you're going to grab the inside half of one loop. So try to show you to make sure you can see. And then you're going to grab the back part of the next loop. And then we'll just make our stitch. And that's a decrease. So once again, you grab the inside part of one loop. I don't know if my camera's focused. Inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop. And we'll just make a stitch. And that's a decrease. So we just did 2 decreases in the front here, and then the rest are going to be single stitches. So the rest of these we just do single stitches until we get to the C-clip. Then once you get to the C-clip, you'll make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it, and you'll move it up. Like that. So now if we count around, we should be at 6 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Always remember to count the one on your hook when you start. Sometimes I forget. So this row we're going to be doing something very similar to what we did last row. We're going to only decrease 1 this time. So we're going to do a decrease, and then the rest are going to be singles. So once again, this first stitch that we're going to do after the C-clip is going to be a decrease. So I already did it, but in case you're still confused, inside part of the first loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch, and then we just do singles the rest of the way. And here's the part where it kind of gets a little tight, so it can be kind of hard to see. But once we finish going around the rest of the way with single stitches, you're just going to move your C-clip up. So now if you count around, you should be at 5 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, sorry, I had to pause to drink water. My allergies have been so bad, and I don't know, man. I needed water. But yeah, so that's it for this last row. And so for the next 2 rows are pretty simple. We're going to be doing 2 rows of all single stitches. So we're going to do 2 rows normal, and then we're actually going to be almost done with the head. So we're going to do 2 rows of single stitches. So this will be the first one. So once again, the single stitches is you just do 1 stitch in the loop. And that'll be a single stitch. Then once you get to the C-clip, you'll make a stitch on the band that has the C-clip on it and move it up. So that was 1 row of singles. We're going to go around again because we have to do 2 rows. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm going fast for this part. You can always pause if you fall behind on the steps so you can do it. And then just unpause the video when you're caught up. It's just this thing is so small that I go around it pretty quickly. And then once we get to the C-clip, we're actually done with our blue color. So you're going to want to switch to whatever color you want for his body. So for me, that's this burgundy color. It's from the Rainbowloom web store. Thought it'd be a cool color to make my turkey. So you're going to want to get that color, whatever color you're using for your turkey's body. And we're going to do a slip stitch because we're flipping colors. So what a slip stitch is instead of pulling it through just the loop, you're going to pull it through everything on your hook. So you pull this band through everything on your hook, push the back one over the front one, and then that'll just be the slip stitch, and then we'll move our C-clip up. So after that last row, you should still be at 5 stitches if you count around. So we'll count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like that. And yeah. I'm double checking my head's the right length. Probably should have paused to do this. But yeah. Okay. I wrote the pattern while making this guy, so I was just double checking everything's correct, but we're good still. So now that's probably the hardest part. The next, like, the hardest part because it is so tight. Now we go bigger from here, so it's super easy. So for this next row, we're going to be increasing everything. So every single stitch we do is going to be an increase, and it's just like the row we did before. So, oop. And in case you forgot what an increase is, all an increase is you put 2 stitches in the same loop. So this one already has 1 in it, but we're going to want to go back in and do another one. So that way it's an increase. And we just keep doing this all the way around, putting 2 stitches in every loop. So, yeah. We're just increasing everything. And you're going to want to make sure you get this loop, because sometimes when we slip stitch, it might be easy to miss this one. But yeah, make sure you get this loop to do an increase in it. And then once you get to the C-clip, we're just going to make a single stitch in the band that has the C-clip on it. And move the C-clip up. Like that. So that was our row of increases. After this, you should be at 10 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 loops. So now what we're going to do is we are going to, what are we doing? Double checking my pattern. Hold up. Okay, I know what I meant. I was a little confused, but now I know what I meant when in my notes. So we're going to increase 3 stitches in a row starting at the 3rd loop. And what I mean by this is the way I count. So this is the first loop. This next loop is the 2nd loop. So that one will also be a single stitch. And then we're going to do 3 increases in a row. And then the rest will be single stitches. So I'll do it with you. So this is a single stitch. The next stitch is the 2nd stitch, so that will also be a single stitch. So we have 2 single stitches, and now on this 3rd loop, we're going to do an increase, and then we're going to be doing 3 increases in a row. So this will be the first one. So we'll put 2 stitches in this loop, and then the next one will also be an increase because we're doing 3 increases in a row. And then after you do the 3 increases in a row, the rest will be single. And I'll recap what we did once we get to the C-clip. But you just keep doing single stitches all the way until you get to the C-clip. And once again, once we get to the C-clip, we're going to make a stitch on the band that has the C-clip on it. And we'll move it up. So I'll recap what we did in case you're confused, but we basically did 2 single stitches, then we did 3 increases in a row, and then the rest was single. So now we should be at 13 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like that. Okay, so now it gets a little bit repetitive. We're going to be doing 3 rows of just all single stitches. I'm going to stay on and do the first one with you, and then I'm going to go off and do the other 2. So 3 rows of just single stitches. There's been a hair over here, I don't know, in the area where I pick up bands. It's kind of annoying me. There we go. Okay. So like I said, we gotta do 3 rows of single stitches, and at the end of each of these 3 rows, you should still be at 13 loops. But yeah. So we're just doing single stitches all the way around until we get to the C-clip. single stitches, almost there. Okay. And then once we get to the band that has the C-clip on it, we're going to make a stitch, and we're going to move it up. So that was one row of single stitches, and if we count around, we should still be at 13 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And we're going to do that exact same thing we did 2 more times, so we have 3 rows in total. I'm going to go off camera to do the other 2 rows, and then I'll come back and tell you what to do next. Okay, so after the 3 rows, it should be looking something like this, and like I said, you should still be at 13 loops if you count around. Whoa, we got blurry there. If you count around, you should still be at 13 loops. So yeah, I took my hook out, and that's because I just want to remind everybody that if you're using beads, it's a really good idea, like if you tie in beads the way I usually do, it's a good idea to stuff the head a little bit. So right now is a good time to stuff it, because we are going to start closing this guy up, and it only gets tighter, and you might want to use something to kind of shove the stuffing up in there, because it's very small. So I'm going to just use my hook to push the stuffing into his head. It's kind of hard to do this on camera. Had way too much stuffing, so you can kind of just push the stuffing up into his head a little bit. I think this guy's better when he has a little bit of stuffing in him. Probably should use something a little bit thicker than my hook to do this. Like, I feel like a Q-tip would probably work good. Wait, yeah, there's just a bunch of stuffing in his neck. I'm gonna go fix the stuffing issue, and then I'll come back to show you what to do next. Okay, so I stuffed his head, and the way I did it was I just tore up tiny pieces of cotton like you kind of saw me doing. And I used this wooden stick I had on my desk, and I kind of just shoved it up, and this worked a little better than my hook because it's slightly thicker. Yeah, if you're stuffing the head, just be patient and really don't overstuff it, or you'll see the stuffing oozing out everywhere. Stuffing the neck is just kind of hard. Well, it's not really hard, it's just annoying. I don't know. I don't know what to say. What am I saying? I don't know. Anyways, we're going to start closing this guy up. So, we're going to start decreasing again. So, that was kind of like a weird voice crack thing. But for this row, we're going to be decreasing every 4th. So, every 4th stitch we do, it's going to be a decrease. And what that basically means is we're going to be doing 3 single stitches and then a decrease. So, this is 1 single stitch. Next one's 2. So, 1, 2, 3. And then the next stitch would be the 4th stitch, so we're going to decrease. So you're going to get the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and make a stitch. And that'll be our decrease. So we'll just do that again. So we'll do 1 single stitch, 2 single stitches, 3, and then the next one would be 4, so we're going to do a decrease. So inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch. And then 1, 2, 3, and then almost choked, but we're good. And then the 4th loop would be the one that has a C-clip on it, so we're just gonna ignore that decrease and we'll just make a single stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it. And we're gonna move it up. So now if you count around, you should be at 11 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like that. So we're going to be doing something very similar to what we did last row for this row. So we're going to be decreasing every 3rd this row. So we're going to do 2 single stitches and then a decrease. So very similar to what we did last row, but with like 1 less single stitch, I guess. So this is our first single stitch. The next one will be the 2nd single stitch. So 2 single stitches. And then once again, we'll be decreasing. So front part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch. And we just keep doing this all the way around. So you do 2 single stitches, so 1, 2. And then the next loop would be the 3rd loop, so we decrease. So inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and make a stitch. So 1, 2, and then once again the decrease this time is going to run into the one that has a C-clip on it, but this time we're just going to do it. So inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch, and then we'll put our C-clip on the span. So now if we count around, you should be at 8 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And right now will be a good time to stuff it, so get your stuffing and stuff him. So we're just gonna stuff him a little bit. Needs a little more. Like that. So now what we're going to do is pretty simple. We're just going to decrease absolutely everything until it's closed. So every single stitch we do is going to be a decrease. So inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, decrease. And we're just going to do decreases all the way around. So every single stitch we're doing is a decrease. So we're just decreasing all the way around. And at this point we can just take the C-clip out, because we're just going to decrease until we can't anymore. So decrease, and then my next decrease is the last one I can do, so we're going to pick that decrease up on our hook, and then we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then pull tight. And then we'll hide our tail into our turkey. Accidentally let go of the tail. We're still good. Okay. And then we have our turkey body, which looks really weird at the moment, but once we finish doing everything else, we'll be good. Sorry, I'm trying to update my pattern, and this pen isn't working. There we go. Sorry. I should really pause the video when I do some of these things, but I never do. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to do his wings, his feet, his head, his eyes, basically everything else but the tail. So I'm going to go get eyes because I forgot to grab them, and then we're going to get started doing everything. Okay, so I have my eyes, and I've got my piece of floss so I can put them on a band. And we're not going to attach the eyes right now, but I just want to put the eyes on the band. That way they don't roll away, also they're ready to be put on. So once again, we're going to put, well, not once again, showing you how to do this. We're going to put our bead on our string, then we're going to get a band that is the same color as our head. And then you're going to put it on the string as well. Then you'll fold over and go back through the bead. And then you'll just pull the bead onto the band. And we do this again, so we have 2 eyes. Like that. And then our eyes are ready to be attached. So before I do the eyes, I usually do the beak. It's just easier this way. And you can kind of tell what the front of your turkey is because he has this little like forward bit. His butt also sticks out a bit, so you know this is the front. And you just want to get whatever color you want to do for the beak. I kind of don't know what color I want to make his beak. I don't know if I want to do orange or if I should do yellow. Okay, I paused so I could decide, and I'm just going to do yellow. So for the beak, pretty simple. I'll show you what we do. You're going to want to get whatever color you want for your beak. You're going to get some bands of that color. We're going to come into the front of his face, so make sure you're in the front. And we're going to basically make a circle of 4 or 5 stitches. It doesn't really matter how many, but around there. So we're going to stitch in the circle about 4 or 5 times. So 1, 2, go here. Sorry, I'm deciding where to stitch. 3, and then this one will be 4, I guess. So I'm going to only stitch 4 times into his face, but the last time I did this, I stitched 5 times into his face, but I kind of feel like his beak could be a little smaller, so that's what I'm doing. And then we'll go into this first loop after we've done the 4 stitches, and we're just going to make a single stitch. And now we're going to decrease everything until it is closed. Wait, let me double check something. Okay, I was making sure I wasn't doing it wrong. But yeah, so now we're going to just decrease everything until we can't anymore. So it's really tight, so it might be a little tricky. But you're really going to want to decrease until you can't at all. So once you have that last decrease up on your hook, once again you'll pull a band through everything on your hook. Push the back one over the front one and pull tight. And then we're going to hide our tail into our beak. And you don't want to pull it in, but you don't want to pull it like really in, because then it won't be pointy. So you don't want to pull it in just enough. Just enough. And you can make your beak, if you had trouble with the 4 stitches, you can make it a 5-stitch circle. I just wanted this one to have a little bit smaller of a beak. And I'm just tucking the tail in a little more off camera because it was kind of... It's always so hard to hide the tails on camera. I don't know what it is. It's always hard. So yeah. There we have our beak. Like I said, his beak is a little bigger. I did it 5 stitches in a circle, but I think it looks better with a 4. So yeah. So now we can attach our eyes. So you're going to want to come to wherever you want the eyes. I'm going to put mine right here on either side of the beak. And we're going to tie them in. And we'll hide our tails. Like that. Once you have one eye, he'll go and do the other eye. And to me right now, he's kind of looking like a duck, but we're going to give him a gobbler and it'll be life-changing. He's giving me duck/swan vibes, not turkey. Okay. But after this, we'll do the gobbler. So, I'm gonna make his gobbler red, and I'm gonna pray it makes this man look more like a turkey. I don't know why he looks like a duck right now. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna stitch down 3, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna turn, and then we'll do something else. But you're gonna stitch down in a line 3 times right in the middle. So 1, 2, then 3. I actually think I didn't go high enough to the thing. You're going to want to go right under the beak because there's too much of a gap when I did it. But you're going to want to come right under the beak. So 1, 2, 3. Then after we do those 3 stitches, we're going to turn. So we're going to turn our hook around so we face this way. We're going to do an increase in this loop. So 1, 2. And then we're going to go through the next loop and we're just going to tie it off. So we'll pull a band through everything on our hook. Put the back one over the front one and pull tight. And that is how you do the gobbler. And then you'll just hide your tail into your head. So you'll just pull it in. I think I'm going to pull it right behind the gobbler because I feel like you can see the red band through these blue ones, which is not good. Yeah, there we go. Now he's giving me more turkey vibes. Life-changing, what a gobbler does. Yeah, now he looks more like a turkey. I was a little worried there, but he's looking good. I guess we'll do the legs next. I usually do the wings close to last. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do his feet next. And the feet are pretty much all doubled bands. I made his feet, it's kind of hard to tell on my camera, but they're 2 different colors. So it's like yellow, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, and then his whole foot is orange. So I'm going to do something, oops, whacked my camera. I'm going to do something similar to that again. I'm going to start with orange, just because I think his feet look nicer when they start with orange. So to start, we're going to wrap a band 4 times around our hook. So that's 2. We can grab both these loops and wrap them around again. It'll be 4. And then we'll double the band. Slide the cat band onto this band. And then both ends back on our hook. So it should look something like this. And we're going to do that exact same thing 2 more times. So we're going to wrap a band 4 times around our hook. Double the band again. And then pull the cat band onto that band. Put both ends back on. We'll do that 1 more time, so we have 3 toes, I guess. That's how I think about it. And then once you have 3, we're going to take a band, double it, pull it through everything on our hook, and put both ends back on. And then we're just going to chain up a couple times to make the rest of the legs. So let me count how many times we need to chain up. Okay, so I was just checking something. So we have to chain up 5 times, and you can do this all in one solid color, but I like to alternate between a yellow and then an orange, so my next one will be yellow. And we're just doubling our bands and then chaining up. So you just double a band, pull through everything on your hook, both ends back on, double a band, pull through everything on your hook, pull through everything on your hook. That was like a jumble of words. Just whacking my camera so much. Oopsies. Yeah. Double the band. It's back on. So like I said, we're chaining up 5 times. And this last one should be 5. And then once you've chained up 5 times, you're going to pull a band that is your turkey color through. And then we can just tie the leg into the turkey. So I usually go directly in front, right here. And then I'll just tie it in. And then tuck in the tail. And then to make the foot stick up like this where it's bended, you're going to want to go in. And you see this orange loop that has like all the toes on it. You're going to go through that. And then you're just going to pull up on it a little bit. And it should rotate the band so the foot sticks up like this. So I'm going to go off camera to make the other foot. I feel like I explained it pretty well. So I'm going to go off camera, make the other foot, and I'm going to come back and show you what to do next. Okay, I have another leg. So we'll just attach the leg on the other side of this one because that's where it looks like it goes. Just attach the leg. Hide the tail. And then once again, we'll go into that first orange loop here. And then pull on it so that way it makes the foot look bent. And he has legs. Oh man, he's starting to look super cute. I also just wanted to note, because while I was off camera, the beak was bugging me because it was perfectly straight. Now you can see it's a little bit down. And how I achieved that was basically, I undid the slipknot band, I pushed the beak down, and then I retucked the band in so that way it stayed pointing down. I didn't like undo it at all. I just undid, like I pulled out the slipknot band, I pushed his nose down, and then I retucked it in so it would stay like this. I don't know how it worked, but if you want your beak to be down a little, because I think it looks more like a turkey, just undo the slipknot band if it's, like, not undo, but, like, find the tail to that band, and then just squish your beak down, and then retuck it in, and it should stay like this, so, just a side note. But now we're going to do the wings, which is the final step before the tail. And the wings are really simple, so I will show you how to do them. You're going to want to get your turkey color. And what we're going to do is you're going to come in where you want the wings. I've kind of put them pretty close and high up, so I'm going to come right here. We're going to chain up 2, so 1, 2. And then we're going to pull another band through. We're going to make a stitch. We're going to pull it kind of tight but not super tight. And we're going to let it go. And then, I'm just double checking something. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come into the under half of the chain, but on the same, like you can tell where I stitched in the chain. Let me make sure my camera's focused. But you can tell where I stitched into the chain here. We're going to want to come right next to that. We're going to make a stitch. And I feel like my hook's facing the wrong way. Doesn't really matter, but it matters to me. We're going to make a stitch, so right next to where the chain is. And then we'll go into this first chain. We're going to put 2 stitches. So 1, 2. And then we're going to want to grab this loose loop. And ignore me fixing the way my stitch is facing. It bugs me when they're not all facing the same way, but it doesn't matter. But you just want to grab that loose loop. And then you'll just put the back one over the front one. And then we're going to put 2 more stitches in this top loop. So 1, 2. And then we'll just tie this into the turkey. So I'm going to come about right here and double checking something again. So we're going to want to go through this last chain. Then we're going to go through part of our turkey. And then we'll pull a band through everything on our hook. Push the back one over the front one and then pull tight. And that'll be a wing. And I'm going to show you again in case you were a little confused. So I'll show you one more time. So that's one wing. So we're going to go on the other side and do the other wing. Oh, also the slip knot band is peeking out on his face. Back. I don't know what's happening there. Oh, there we go. But yeah, let me show you how to do the other wing. Okay, I had to redo the video because it was about to time out. My camera. Yeah, anyways. Well, not redo the video, but I had to, like, stop the video, start the video. Yeah. So we're going to do the other wing. If you were confused, I'll try to explain better this time. But we're going to come where we want the wing. I'm going to put mine right here. Oop, right here. We're going to chain up 2, so let me make sure my camera's focused. Okay. So we're going to chain up 2, so 1, 2. We're going to make a stitch, so we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook, and then push the back one over the front one. And then we're going to come down, and we're going to go through that same part that the chain is on, so right below it. So you don't want to come above it, you want to come below it. We're going to make a stitch. And then we're going to go into this first chain. We're going to do 2 stitches, so 1, and then 2. And make sure that band that's up there doesn't come off. But you'll do 2 stitches. And then you're just going to grab this tail band that's just hanging up here. You're going to put it on your hook. Then you'll push the back one over the front one. And then in this top chain, we're going to put 2 more stitches. So 1, 2. And then it should be looking something like this. So there should be 1 stitch and then 2 in this first chain, and then it looks like there's 3 on the end. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through that top part of the chain. So the top chain part, you know, that bit. And then we're going to go into part of our turkey, and we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook. Push the back one over the front one, and then we'll pull tight. And that is how you do a wing. So I think that time I explained it a little bit better than the first time. So I hope you understood it. But yeah, so that is it for the main part of our turkey. So now all we need to do so that way he is done is our tail. So we are going to get started on the tail. I don't think the tail's hard at all. Like I said, for the tail this time, I'm going to be using orange, red, and yellow. And yeah, so we'll just set our turkey aside for now, because we don't connect the tail to the turkey until the end. So we just set them aside, and you're just going to want to get whatever colors you want for your tail. So let me get some more bands because I'm running low on a few. Okay, so I got all my colors together for the tail, but I just want to show you these guys' tails so you can see. So for this guy, sometimes I did 2 rows of the same color, but on this guy, I switched color every row, and I like how this looks better, so that's what I'll be doing today. And yeah, so you're going to want to get whatever color you want first. I'm going to start with yellow, and what we're going to do, and we don't need a C-clip for this part, so you can just set your C-clip aside as well. But we're going to start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook, so 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to be putting 4 stitches into this cap band in the same color. So 1, and I'm not explaining too much how to do this because we did it earlier when we did the turkey's head, so it's the same thing. We're just putting 4 stitches into this cap band. And then once you have 4 stitches, you're gonna want to count to make sure. So you start by counting the one on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then, like I said, I'm gonna be switching colors every row. So for the next row, I'm gonna be switching to orange. And we're gonna do 2 rows of increasing everything. And I'm gonna show you how this is a little bit different than the turkey head because, well, I'll show you in a second. Let me finish picking up my orange bands. But basically, when we did the head, after we made sure we had 4 stitches, we went into the first loop. We're not going to do that this time. So what we're going to do instead is we're facing this way. We're just going to kind of turn around. So we're going to turn so we're facing this way. And then we're just going to start increasing everything. And because we're flipping colors, and every time we flip colors for the rest of this, you're going to want to slip stitch. So you pull it through everything on your hook, and then put the back one over the front one. So yeah, we're just going to turn, and then we're going to start increasing everything. So every single stitch we do is going to be an increase. Like that. So once you get to the end, once again, that'll be it for this row. So we're going to count backwards. You should be at 6 loops now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like that. And like I said, we're doing 2 rows increasing everything. So the next row, we're also going to be increasing everything. But once again, at the end of the row, we just turn so we face the other way. So I was facing this way. I just turn this around so I'm facing this way. I know that part can be a little confusing, but basically you should be going against the direction of the loops, if that makes sense. So I'll show you in a second. I'm picking up bands again. There we go. But if you can see, when I'm facing this way, I'm kind of going in the direction of the loops. You're just going to turn so you're facing against the direction of the loops, if that makes sense. But once again, we're increasing everything and switching colors, so we're going to slip stitch the first stitch. Just so the colors flip nicer. You don't have to do this, it's just I like when my colors are all perfect. And every single stitch we do is an increase. And then once we get to the end, we'll count to make sure we're at the right number of loops. So you should be at 10 loops now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then once again, we'll turn so we're facing against the loops, so you can see we're going towards the loops. You're going to turn so you're facing against, if that makes sense. And for the next row, we're going to be increasing every third. Okay, so we're going to be increasing every third, so we're going to do 2 single stitches and then an increase, but something that's a little different than what we did earlier is we're going to start with an increase. So the first stitch we do is going to be an increase, and then we're going to do 2 single stitches and then an increase. It's not that much different, it's just we start with an increase. Yeah. So like I said, we're increasing every third, but this first stitch we do is going to be an increase, so once again, the first stitch will be a slip stitch so we can flip colors. And this one will be an increase. And then we're going to do 2 single stitches, so 1, 2, and then we'll do an increase. And we just keep doing this. So we'll do 1, 2, and then we'll do an increase. We'll do 1, 2, like that. And at the end of this row, we should be at, I think, 12 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 loops. So that's it for this row. For the next row, we're going to do 1 row normal. So we're just going to do a bunch of single stitches. No increasing, no decreasing, just 1 row, single stitches. And I'm picking up bands again. And believe it or not, we're actually getting really close to being done with the tail. The tail kind of comes together super quickly. So, yeah. We're over halfway done already. But once again, we're facing this way. We're going to turn so we face this way. And we'll slip stitch the first stitch because we're switching colors. And then we just do single stitches all the way across. You know, I'm kind of glad that today's video I didn't have any struggle with the lightings, because I think it was the past 2 videos I did, I kind of was like fighting with the lighting. I had to keep fixing it. But today's video is just having really good lighting, which is like, thank goodness I didn't have any problems. It's just so nice when that happens. But yeah, I think I finally got my lighting situation sorted out though, which is nice. So yay for lighting. I am trying to like actively find a nicer camera for my tutorials though, because I know the quality isn't as good as it could be. So that's another thing I'm working on, but yeah. So once you reach the end, once again, we're going to count to make sure we have the right number of loops. So we'll start by counting the one on our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you should be at 11 loops. For some reason, sometimes when you do single stitches, but you're turning back and forth, you always lose a loop in there somewhere. Like the last row we had 12 and now we have 11. Like, we didn't do anything wrong, it's just how it works with this. Just wanted to clarify that. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Yeah. Okay, so let me pick up some red because my next color is red. But we're going to be increasing every third again, and once again we're going to be starting with an increase. And I'm picking up bands. Okay. So we'll turn again, so we're facing against the loops. And we're increasing every third, but we're increasing every third, but we're starting with an increase again, so it's like that other row we did. So start with an increase. Then we're going to do 2 single stitches, so 1, 2, and then we'll do an increase. And we're going to do 1, 2, then we'll do an increase. And we just keep doing this until we get to the end. I'm getting kind of hungry. I've been filming for a little while now. Can't wait to go eat lunch. Unrelated, I just like got hungry suddenly. But yeah. And then an increase. Okay. So after that last row, we should be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we should be at 14 loops. And yeah. So I'm just picking up my next color, which is yellow. So we're going to be doing basically all single stitches, but we're going to be increasing 1 on each end. So the first stitch we're going to do is going to be an increase, and then the last stitch we do is going to be an increase. And I'm just picking up some yellow. And believe it or not, we only have 1 row after this, and our tail is done, and we'll be pretty much done with our turkey, so yeah. So like I said, the first stitch we do is going to be an increase, so make sure to slip stitch on the first stitch, because we're flipping colors once again. And then we'll go back in and do another single stitch, so that way it's an increase. And then it's going to be single stitches all the way across until we reach the last loop, so yep. So we're just going to be doing single stitches all the way across. And it does take a second to go across just because of how wide it is, but it's not too bad. I think it's always so funny when I start filming and then a bunch of people start texting me. Because my sister's texting the group chat a bunch right now. We have a group chat with me, her, and then my cousin. So yeah. It's just always distracting when I'm filming. And then once again, once we get to the last loop, we're going to do an increase because we're increasing on each end. And then we're going to count to make sure we have the correct number of loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wait, I counted wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you should be at 15 loops. I knew some of these numbers were wrong, that's why I'm not telling you the numbers first. But now, the next row is going to be the very last row. So, it's going to be the row with all these little squiggly things. And if you've ever made my ghost design, this is kind of very similar to how we do that. So, yeah. And this is the last row for the tail, and then we're done with it. So once again, we're going to turn, and then let me just check something. Okay, hold up. Let me check something. Okay, I was just making sure. So we're going to turn, and the first stitch we do is just going to be a single stitch, so, but it's also a slip stitch just because we're switching colors. So we're going to do that, single stitch. And then the next stitch is going to be our first squiggly bit. So we're going to start by chaining 1, like that. And then we're going to put 4 stitches into this chain. Like that. That's the first one. And then 2, 3, and then 4. Then once you put 4 stitches in that chain, you're just going to go to the next stitch, do a single stitch, and then on the next one we do another squiggly one, so you chain up 1, Put 4 stitches in it. Oh my god, my hook keeps getting caught in my notebook. I don't know why. But we're going to put 4 stitches in it. So basically we're just alternating between doing a single stitch and then doing a chain with 4 stitches in it. And we're just alternating between doing that. So I just did a chain with 4 stitches in it, so I'll do a single stitch. Then we do a chain, and we put 4 stitches in it. And we just keep alternating doing this all the way until we get to the end. And this kind of does take a while to do, just because the chains you have to put, it's like a lot of stitches. So it does take a second. But it's worth it. I'm honestly so much happier with this turquoise colors than the other one I showed you guys at the start. I don't know. I feel like they were thought out better, I guess. But yeah. So I feel like you get what I'm doing. I'm going to stay on the camera to do this row, but I'm not going to be explaining as much. Because it's pretty simple. You just do a single stitch, and then you just do a chain with 4 stitches in it. It's funny though, because in the pattern for myself, I just put, like, because I write down my own instructions to follow while I do the tutorial, just so I don't forget any steps, you know, whatever. And for this step, I just put do squiggly bit, like, so helpful. But I knew exactly what I meant, but I feel like that's another reason why I don't give people my patterns before I post a tutorial, because I'll send you it, and then there'll just be something that says, like, just do this, and I'll be like, ah, yes, I know exactly what that means, but, like, if anyone else read it, they would be like, what is she talking about? So, yeah, I feel like I'm the only people, like, I've sent my patterns out to people before, and they get it more or less, but I feel like it's just better, because when I post a tutorial, because whenever I put the pattern in the description, I always clean up, like, all my, oh, just do this, and I actually write out what you're supposed to do. So that way it's easier for people to understand. Also, I'm hoping really soon to do a video explaining how to read my patterns, because I think it would be helpful. I personally like reading patterns over watching a tutorial, so I get that, but I'll still, of course, be making tutorials for the people who like to watch my tutorials and find it easier to follow along with the tutorial than just read a pattern. So, yeah. Yep. I'm also really excited for this thing I'm planning to do in December. I mentioned it on Instagram, and I think I'm going to do it. It's just going to be a really fun thing to do. Also, most of you guys are out of school in December, so it's just a good time to do this thing, this mysterious thing I'm doing. It's not very mysterious. You'll pretty much find out what it is in like about a week or two, like a week and a half. But I'm excited for it, and it's going to be a good way for me to get a lot of tutorials out, and that's all I'm going to say, because I feel like I'm going to have to make a video telling you exactly what I'm doing, otherwise I won't do it, so you'll see soon, but yeah. And the last squiggly bit. So, the last stitch you did should have been one of these squiggly bits. So we're just going to go into the chain, and then we're just going to pull a band through everything on our hook to tie it off. And then you're just going to want to hide your tail, and hiding your tail is kind of hard because it's so flat. So I'll just go through the inside half of some of these stitches. And I'll just pull this band through so it hides in them. Like that. So that way it's hidden a little bit. Like that. Okay, so that is it for our tail. So I don't know if it cut off me saying okay, but that's it for our tail. So now all we have to do is attach the tail onto the turkey. And this part is pretty simple. We went blurry again. You're just going to want to pick, I usually put the side with this kind of stitches towards the front so you see that. But if you like how this side looks better, you can do that. I just personally like how this side looks facing this way. And then that part's for like the back. So I just hold it where I want the tail. And then I'll go and look and see what stitches are like near each other. I'll go through part of this. And I usually go through only the inside half of these, because I like to use my turkey color to tie it on. But you only want to go through the inside half, so that way you can't see where you tied it on the back. Like, look. So you can't see, because I only grabbed the inside part of that. But if you're worried that, and you're just going to grab the whole stitch to tie it on, just use whatever color as the tail part you're grabbing, so that way it's not noticeable. But, yeah. And I basically just tie it on, so I just keep tying it until it stays and it's where I like it, so... yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll just keep going around, going through some of my turkey. Oh my god, we're blurry again. And then I'll go through part of my tail. Then I'll just tie it. And I usually have to tie it about 5 or 6 times. And I would recommend not hiding your tails until you're happy with how the tail looks. So, yeah. And you want to tie a little higher up too. I usually start by just tying it very low, and then I move a little higher up, and then I tie it a wee bit higher up. I don't know why I said a wee bit. I don't know where that came from, but yeah. But yeah, I just keep tying it. And this was the best way I found to do the tail. I tried some different things, didn't work out. This is like the best way. So, my camera saved it. But yeah, so you just keep tying it until you're happy with it. And then once you're happy with it, you can hide all the tails. I'm gonna finish tying that off camera because you can kind of see it's tied on crooked already. I just have such a hard time tying things on camera. But you would just keep tying the tail until you're happy with how it's tied on. And then your turkey would be done. I'm really happy with how this turkey looks. This guy looks much better than the other one I made. He just looks more Thanksgiving. But yeah. So I'm just going to show you really quick on my other turkey how I got the beak to not see, because this guy's beak is straight out. This guy's is a little bit down. So I'm just going to show you how to do that on his beak, because I haven't done it to him yet, in case you wanted to know. But basically what I did was I located the slip knot band, and I pulled the tail out. So we'll do that, and you're just going to want to pull the tail out. So, let me pull the tail out. Okay, and then once you have pulled the tail out, I kind of just squished his beak, so it would point downward. And then I saw how that looked, and then I figured out how to tie the tail so his beak would look like it's down. And this kind of makes no sense, but I just kind of pulled it in a little more down. And somehow it stuck down instead of straight. And it was a lot of squishing. Yes, like that. I'm just squishing it off camera. And then once I was happy with it, I re-hid the tail. But I feel like it just looks a little bit better like that. Like with some kind of a little bit of down pointing, because turkeys don't have straight beaks, and I feel like that's what was missing to this design. So that's all I did. I basically just squished it a bunch, and then it stayed a little bit pointing downward. I feel like that looks more like a turkey. But yeah, so that is it for this tutorial. I hope your turkey turned out okay. I'm kind of happy with this design. Yeah, I think it's as good as a loom turkey as we're going to get on this channel. Maybe next year I'll come back with an improved version, but we'll see. But anyways, if you like this video, I don't know, I feel like such an official YouTuber saying that. If you want to see more videos from me, subscribe to my channel. I have a load of tutorials coming in December. I'm planning something. I'm being very cryptic about the something, but there's something coming. Also, in the next couple days leading up to Thanksgiving, I'm going to put out a couple Thanksgiving designs. So the pumpkin's coming, which is a little bit fall-y. I told you guys the pumpkin was coming a while ago, and I don't know what happened, and I can't figure out how to make him. Like, I keep trying to make other pumpkins. Here's one of my tries, and it looks kind of like a lump, so we're struggling, but I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna film a tutorial for it, so don't worry. It'll be out this week. And I'm working on another design that may or may not come out for Thanksgiving, but for sure there'll be the pumpkin tutorial, so subscribe if you want to see that. My Instagram, Etsy, all that's in the description if you want to check me out. I always post stuff on Instagram first, so yeah. But I think that's it for this video, so I will see you in the next tutorial probably. Bye.